Hello, everybody. It's so nice to connect with you today. If you don't know me, my name is Sam Sharman, and among other activities and hats that I wear as artist and musician and event organizer, I am also a Web3 educator. And I'm very delighted to be introducing you to my course, Web3 Me, produced with Goddessy and Hive Global Media. And this course is going to be in person, but this Pisces rainy February energy has me called to do the course online for the first one that we're opening up here, which is the Introduction to Web3. To be honest, I could be not more delighted about this, as I myself, very Piscean, am here with my flower friends and my crystals friends and my tea and my very cozy bed workstation situation. So I'm going to be offering a video of this lecture today for free in lieu of the live class that we were supposed to have last night. And then my materials are available to purchase for you, to you. Either through DM. I'm not going to have them up on my website until March or April, but you can DM me and I will send you the slides. I like to do sliding scale and energy trade options available for all of the things. I think sometime in the near future here, I'll be hopping on a Twitter space in the late summer or in the late spring or early summer, talking about new kinds of economies and regenerative finance and things like that. But for now, I'll just say I like to offer all of my offerings either at a sliding scale and or with energy trade options available. So DM me if you are interested in exchanging for these slides. And I will be posting this, well, you see it already. I was going to explain the fact that I'm a little head inside of the slides right now. So you have these for free in this video, and you can purchase the slides from me with all of the links to resources. Okay. Now, before we dive into the course description and then this specific class offering, which is Introduction to Web3, and the course is Web3 Me, before we dive into the class today, I want to just take a moment to ground and to cleanse and to, if you haven't already, get yourself a tea. Again, I'm really bringing the Pisces energy to the front, meaning relax. Grab some non-caffeinated tea, maybe even sleepy time tea. Maybe you just need a nap and need to listen to someone talk softly but passionately to you while you have a sleep. That gets my YouTube ratings up, and it's a win-win too, and then maybe you'll circle back around when you want to learn about Web3. My point is, I invite you in your most relaxed and eased state. And I'm really excited to share this information with you. I'm really passionate. And so just allow the energy to carry you, allow your curiosity to carry you. Don't get hung up on things that might feel foreign or that you don't understand. If it feels like you haven't fully gotten there yet before I move on, it's okay. Just let it go. We block ourselves from so much learning for getting mad at ourselves for not understanding something instantly. And this stuff takes time. So just easing you into the learning process. Have a sip with me. Easing myself into the teaching process too. Yes, beautiful. Okay, I am going to light this Palo Santo, and I am going to give us an energy cleanse before we start. For those of you who don't know, I used to be a teacher before I decided to pursue my art and my entrepreneurial desires full time. So I'm a little geeked out right now that I get to do some teaching about something that, well, I love the things that I was teaching before, but this is path calling, you know what I mean? Okay. Taking some deep breaths, grounding into your body, seeing where there's any tension or seeing where there's any stress or seeing where there's any pain, and just offering it your attention and your softness and your non-judgment. Maybe shaking a bit if that feels good, loosening up your neck, letting your head be heavy, and shaking your shoulders and your chest. A lot of tension gets stored here. You can do some tapping on your chest. I really like to make bird noises. That helps me move energy. Sound and vibration are so helpful. I invite you to use your throat and your belly and your heart right now to find yourself in your body and in a space of non-judgmental, open curiosity, encircling you with ease and gratitude and love and creativity and sovereignty and abundance. One of my favorite terms that I've learned in the last couple years is co-liberation. Co-liberation. I'll let that hit. Yummy. And it was coined by my favorite astronumerologist, Tanya Gabrielle. Highly recommend her. She's the shiz. Okay. Feeling nice and settled, relaxed, in a comfortable position. Feel free to get up anytime. Okay. Now that we're here, let's begin class. Okay, so this class, oh, I have it set to not the home screen, my bad. Okay, so this class is, this is actually a course that I'm offering. It's pretty much a year-long course. That's a commitment for a Pisces. I'm excited about it. With the exception of Burning Man and December shenanigans, there's a full year of material here. Okay, so we have this course, Web3 Me, and it is gonna have an in-person component. It's creative education, community, and play is the tagline for this course. So we meet on a monthly basis and we have a hands-on creative project. I will be saving mine for next month, where I'm going to lead you in the art of self-portraits, connecting with your higher self through the lens of the camera. It's a lot about using art and creativity as a container for holding your shadows and seeing the beauty in your contrast, and then alchemizing through art. I'm delighted to offer this to you next month. And then we have a class, which today will be Web3 Introduction. And then we have a DJ afterward. And this experience may actually merge with Enchanted Loft, which is another event series that I produce. And so this may evolve and combine into something where there's even more juicy offerings, and then we all just get together once a month and do all the great things. But anyway, for now, we're sticking to what I have written down. And so today, in lieu of dancing, although maybe we'll dance together at the end, but in lieu of a creative project at an in-person meeting, we're gonna have an online experience together in this cozy Pisces situation. So that's a little bit about the course. Now we're looking at the agenda for today. Course overview, I guess I did some of that, didn't I? But we may take an additional review of some specific details. And then we're gonna go over the history and frameworks of Web3. What the F is Web3? We're gonna find out. And then we're gonna look at the applications of Web3, some of the applications of Web3. And then there's an invitation. And invitation is my very gentle Piscean way of assignment, homework, if you'd like. Obviously, it's optional, but it is additional work because we are doing the work for our dreams. So here is some additional invitational homework for you. Okay, so first, let's go over the course. By the way, almost all of the artwork that you see, is my mouse working? Yes, like this, all of this artwork is mine. That's all my artwork. And then the cute gifts and things are not, but just wanted to point that out. All of this artwork is available for purchase on my various platforms, which you can find through my link tree. Okay. So there are infinite ways to approach having a class on Web3. What I find a lot of in-person gatherings, and I haven't been to a lot of in-person gatherings in LA, but I've been to quite a few where I'm not a part of the crew organizing it and I don't know the people, and I'm going to like an NFT space, and I often find that it's very jargon heavy. It's very like kind of like codey heavy, or like advanced. All of a sudden you're like, wait, well, how did you get so advanced? And you're speaking so many fancy code words at me, and I'm not a coder. I don't know what that accent was that I just did, but it sounded like I was from Minnesota. So I know that that has been some people's experience, including mine, but not to say that I haven't had amazing Web3 and NFT experiences. But I wanted to provide some context that we can approach Web3 through any lens that we want, because Web3, as we'll learn, is just the new internet, and just like the internet is everywhere, Web3, the new internet, will be everywhere. In fact, well, I'll say that. So you can approach teaching about Web3 from any entry point. I'm focusing from my passion zones, the things that I really see Web3 lighting me up, and I think lighting the world up and doing really sacred healing work for the world. So the 4 domains that I'm going to cover in this course is going to be art, of course, applications, ways that we can, like, just like my favorite projects and what they're doing, and like the imaginative use cases, and bringing in some of my favorite artists and creators to talk about how they're using it. So applications, there might be some crossover with applications and art. I can't, what can I tell you? This is my zone of excellence. NFTs. We're going to deep dive into NFTs. You, by the time these classes are over, will have no doubt how to mint and publish and sell your own NFTs, and have a wallet, and know what platforms feel good for you. NFTs deep dive, baby. And consciousness. Yes, that's right. NFTs, yes, but altogether Web3 from a perspective of consciousness evolution. Seeing this as an expression of consciousness evolution. Seeing how it's very beautifully an expression and linked toward these stories in the sky of astrology. You know, Web3 is coming out right around the Saturn's return of the internet. That's hilarious if you're into astrology. And even if you're not, it's still really funny if you just try a little bit to understand. So some of these classes will just be fucking straight. I was trying not to cuss because I'm putting this on YouTube. Just straight up sacred shit. We're just going to talk about consciousness and tech and astrology and spirit and mysticism and how that relates to Web3 and the metaverse. Yummy. That's, I mean, right? Haven't we been waiting for that? I know I have. Okay. So that's the course overview. Those are the domains that we're covering in the course. This is the syllabus. It is, of course, subject to change based on any number of factors that arise, unapologetically. But right now, I'm loving this plan and this direction, and I believe I'm going to stick to almost all of it. So, today, introduction to Web3. I'm not going to go over this in detail actually right now. You can see this right here, and you can read this later. But I am going to read what I have written over here to the right. Oh, but wait, I do actually want to make one Virgo rising geeky note. You'll notice that in this 4 domains of Web3, those are color-coded. Of course, that corresponds to the color coding over here. So you know that the green has to do with applications of Web3. And I do say applications right there. Just wanted to point that out, make it nice and easy for you. Okay, but you can read that on your own, and I'm going to read this. So this course is designed to give artists, creators, and entrepreneurs various entry points and resources into the world of Web3. You do not have to consider yourself an artist or creator or entrepreneur. You can be a poet, a part of the creative community that is interested in exploring how to publish their poetry in this emerging internet world, right? So it's I want you to think beyond, or maybe you are a meditation teacher or a yoga teacher looking to plug in selling services, or looking to plug in with events or productions that have to do with this world. We're not going to get too deep into use cases right now, but just on that quick little note right there, thinking about the metaverse is always what gets me excited when I think about like meditation experiences, like to be able to create a whole world that is just like pure God meditation art, and then plug somebody into it, and then put the sound in there and have this experience in there. I mean, can't you imagine? I'm very excited for this. So just thinking about use cases, But jumping ahead. So, but I say that to say you don't have to consider yourself an artist or an entrepreneur to be here in this class. It's for anyone who wants to learn about how to plug in, or you're just curious, or you just want to spend time together. We're a cool community. Okay. Each class provides information that you can apply to your work. So each class is really about you. So it's about how you can apply this to your work, your vision, your brand, and also providing some bigger frameworks for you to look at this through, some philosophical, ethical, and spiritual frameworks for you to consider when we talk about Web3, because that's not often a part of the conversation, and it's like it's a big missing chunk. If we don't understand our own ethical, spiritual, and maybe that word doesn't resonate with you, but other words like ethical or philosophical or intellectual, like if we don't consider these things, then we're just bound to F it up again. So looking at it from the grander perspective is, I think, incredibly important. And each class has a list of further research and an invitation. What happened to my brain there? Yes, so there are resources at the end with all of the resources from where I pulled all of the material for this course, as well as my own lived experiences. And then there's also, like I mentioned, an invitation / an optional assignment for you to participate in. So schedule and syllabus covered. We are moving on. Oh, there are titties all over this presentation, because I like titties, I have titties, ooh, titty. So that's another reason why I couldn't do this live recording, is because I needed to be able to edit out the titties for YouTube and Instagram. Okay, so this gathering, when we meet in person, is valued at $66. That's the value in cash terms. I am very much about new economies and experimental economies and trade and being clear with what we desire and then seeing where and how it can manifest, instead of maybe there being like a middle step of cash. Maybe we don't even need that for this particular thing. Like maybe it just flows more directly for us to trade studio time for 5 classes, or like whatever, you know what I mean? So I, in the effort to kind of push us into trying some experimental shit ish, have created a list, basically a manifestation list for myself, for Goddessy, and for Hive Global Media. And this list has things that we all are looking to manifest, whether it's volunteering at the studio, helping clean and, woodwork some skills for setting up a stage, or whether it is, like I mentioned, studio time. We have a lot of amazing musicians on our team, or photography, or event photography, or blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you can find that information through the Google form, which is on my link tree. You can click and see, and maybe you don't see something written there, but you have an idea, like you have a specific offering, and you're like, Sam, I would love to give you acupuncture and give you herbs. And I'd be like, huh, okay, I would love that. So just use your imagination. Okay. And this class be available online? Video portions of the lecture, of like kind of what I'm doing right now, except we'll be doing them at the events. The video portions will be available online. I want this educational material to be incredibly accessible to anyone and everyone, the whole wide world. I want to make sure that we're empowering our creators. So the videos will be completely accessible online. And then you will be able to purchase the slides sometime in March or April. Except you can now. You can just DM me and I'll send them to you. But soon you'll be able to purchase them on my website. I'm just not going to exactly give you a date yet, but it's the spring. Okay. Introduction to Web3. Okay, we're doing it. We're starting class. Reset. Energy reset. Pew, pew, pew. Introduction to Web3. Let's get excited about it. I'm a geek. Okay, what is Web3? There are a million ways to find Web3. This is something that I have like played with in quite a few words. So let me know how this lays, okay? Web3 is the new era of internet and internet native technologies and their philosophical building blocks. So it is the new internet, it's technologies related to the new internet, and it's the philosophical principles informing the creation of those new technologies and the new internet. Okay. In other words, it's the way the internet will function and the drive of that function. So how it's functioning and why it's functioning. So it's just new era of internet and technology. That's what you can take away from it. New era of internet and technology. Like think about, and we're actually going to go over all of these things, but just think about when the internet first came out and people were like, well, what is this? I don't understand what this is. What actually is it? And it's like totally different. It's like revolutionizing. It's different. And at the same time, it's still like, you can just understand it as like new internet and new tech related to new internet. Okay. Just as the internet is completely connected to our personal lives, our professional lives, our culture, our business, our structures, our creative lives, Web3, the new internet and technologies, will impact every sector of our culture. Period. From business to education to art to personal experiences to spirituality to travel to expression. Yeah? So we are undergoing a massive evolution, and it is married to technology. So this is like it is an evolution. A lot of people have a lot of charge around this. When we get into the conversations on the sacred and consciousness sides of Web3, we'll go into this deeper. But a lot of people have a lot of charge and resistance around this, like merging with technology. And just for now, I'm just going to invite you to just kind of like diffuse that own charge within inside of yourself. Just try to diffuse the charge. That's it. No other request there. So if that's triggering for you, just become aware of it and try to discharge it. Just on an energetic level. Don't even get into a mind thing. Just, okay. Key terms. So every class will have a key terms slide. This is one of my favorite things, is defining language and new language. And Web3 is all about the new. So there's so much new language. There's a lot to define. But we're just gonna take it slow. So we're defining 3 things right now. Sorry, that's my text message going off. What are you gonna do about it? Decentralized. We hear this term a lot, and you are going to hear it throughout the rest of this presentation when we think about centralized and decentralized. First of all, even without hearing a definition of what it means, you can intuitively understand what it means. If you think about centralized, even just put one word after that: centralized power, decentralized power. Power comes from like structures that are like, you know, central and out. Decentralized, it's like a network. Power is just like, so that's the difference there. Okay, the definition of decentralized is technologies operate on a distributed. Okay, this is a very specific definition of decentralized, but I want you to think about it also more generally as like decentralized power. Okay, but specifically, it's technologies that operate on a distributed network of nodes rather than being controlled by a central authority. Now I'm going to break that down, and we're actually going to take a look at the right under Mr. Squidward here. And we're going to talk about how the internet actually works. Because it's hard to talk about the differences in the way that the new internet works if you don't have a reference comparison point. Now, I will say, I'm just starting to really grasp and understand the way that the internet works. And I've been writing out these definitions for a while now. And so it's not easy. So if I describe this and it seems just a bit complicated, it's okay because it is. But I'm going to do my best to make it simple. And just take away from what we take away from it, and also don't know that it's not imperative to the rest of this. It's not imperative to understand, but it is something that will start to give you a little bit more comparison when we're talking about differences, especially when you hear techie people talking about differences and they're using specific kinds of language. Okay, so I'm gonna read this exact definition. The internet is a globally distributed and interconnected network of servers. This is a super important keyword there, is servers, that transmits data and media. So a server, you've heard people talk about that. Maybe you don't really understand what a server is, but oh wait, let me just finish this. Okay. Thousands of companies, universities, governments, and other entities operate their own, that should say servers, but they are interchangeable, but I want to be clear, operate their own servers and exchange traffic with each other based on voluntary interconnection agreements. So breaking this down a bit, like a server, like a government building, or you'll see like universities, I remember the U of A had its own server. That's where I went, the University of Arizona. And so they're operating a hub for all of this like media to go in and out through their server, which is interconnected with all the other servers, but they're big hubs centered in centralized power, universities, governments. But it's not just that. Yeah, it can be companies, it can be, yeah, you just have to have like an extraordinary amount of like resources and because this, especially on, never mind, I'm not going to go down that road. Okay. I'm going to leave it there for now. Okay? So that's the basics of how the internet is working. There are servers that transmit this information, and that's what's important to take away from now. Okay? And we'll get into a little bit more later, especially as we now immediately define blockchain. Blockchain. Blockchain is a publicly accessible database. Okay? Publicly accessible database, you could say ledger database or ledger, that continuously auto-maintains records. I'm going to break that down. Auto-maintains means that it's coded, so it happens by itself. You don't need a human executing it. Code runs the thing. It just is run by code, which is a form of a technology, an artificial intelligence technology that we'll talk about when we talk about more Web3 technologies. So it's auto-maintained by code. It auto-maintains records, transactions, and these records or transactions are called blocks. So when we're talking about the blockchain, we're talking about a chain of transactions that is publicly accessible. Okay? And okay. Linked together using cryptography. Oh, that's the other part of that I just said. So it's using cryptography or coding. I am actually going to jump around a little bit to add one piece in here since I want to drive the point home about the difference between servers, okay? So instead of on servers, blockchain or Web3 technology is run using what's called nodes. And just like I was using the analogy of centralized and decentralized, where it's like these big hubs and then the power goes outward, nodes in a network are just kind of what that implies. Like if you're imagining like a network of things kind of like flowing together, and then there's just these like lit up nodes. And so these nodes are, again, they're like massive computers that are doing the work. They're sending and receiving data and media, sending and receiving data and media, sending and receiving data and media. But now they're run by code. So there's no human interference or control of what's in the transcripts, the blocks, the information, what's the word I wanted to specifically use? Transactions. Okay, anyway. So okay, now I lost my train of thought. That's okay, that happens. Okay, but so it's so instead of it coming from like a government or a business or a university that is running it through their servers, now it's through these decentralized nodes where it's run by coding. So you don't have people overseeing it and controlling it, while at the same time it's totally transparent because it's a publicly accessible record instead of a record owned on the server of the University of Arizona or owned on the server of the US government. Okay. If that didn't totally click, because it is exciting. So if that didn't excite you a little bit, I recommend either just leaving it because it's not resonating right now and there's no need to force it, and or also going and watching that again, because that will click when it clicks, and that's actually super radical. That's like one of the most radical components of this. It's like decentralized flowing of network or of information, media, storage, data that is not controlled by an entity that owns the server and is publicly accessible so everyone can see it. I mean, when we're talking about transparency and accountability, this system naturally inherently is made of transparency and accountability in that everyone can see it. Okay. Great. All right. Now we are moving along to smart contracts. Delightful. Is the last key term of the day. Okay. Smart contracts are programs stored on the blockchain. You know what? I should have just done 2 keywords. 2 keywords was enough. We're going to move on. I'll define smart contracts in the NFTs class. Okay. Now we're going to go to talking about the difference between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. Okay, so Web 1 was the first internet. Web 2 is the internet that we're in now. Web 3 is what we're heading into. So I'm recognizing with my screen recording, I'm going to have to do a little thing where I like cut it out and actually put it on my phone. That's fine. I can do that. Okay, technical thought. Okay, I have this video here because it's so funny. Or it's like a video in a video. I recommend this entire video. It's fucking brilliant. But we're going to the video in the video, which is this hilarious moment where all these talk show hosts are like trying to figure out what the internet is as the internet's coming out. So let's watch that.
Little mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At.
See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'd never heard it. I'd never heard it said. I'd always seen the mark, but never heard it said. And then it sounded stupid when I said it. Violence at NBC.
I heard something big fight up in the lunchroom the other week.
There it is. Violence at NBC, GE.com. I mean,
well, Allison should know.
What is internet anyway?
Internet is that
massive computer network.
The one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
No.
What does it mean?
It's a giant computer network made up of started from.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us what this was.
It's like a computer billboard.
It's not it's a computer billboard, but it's nationwide. And it's several universities and everything all joined together.
Right.
And others can access it.
Right.
And it's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
It came in really handy during the quake. A lot of people, that's how they were communicating out to tell family and loved ones they were okay because all the phone lines were down.
I was telling Katie, and I've been
talking. But you don't need that. You don't need a phone line.
So using that to illustrate like the jump of like trying to wrap our heads around it, the internet was like massively, like transformative on every level, period. And the first generation, the first iteration of the internet, here's some of the qualities of this. We call this Web 1, this first generation. Static pages of information in encyclopedia format. So basically the internet was just an encyclopedia, period. You could just find information on it. That's what it initially was really there for. It was actually really decentralized because it was kind of like it is now. It's just like the Wild West. Like, but I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but one of the challenging things about being in a decentralized system is that you kind of have to learn to do it yourself. Like if you actually want to do it totally like decentralized, you need to learn how to code, you need to learn how to do this, you need to learn how to do that. So in the area of Web 1, if you wanted to build a website, you had to make that website yourself. You had to code the back end of that website and make it yourself. One of the positive aspects of some aspects of centralization is that you have an entity like a Tele or a WordPress that's like a hub for you to create your website on. So Web 1 was decentralized. Oh yeah, if you wanted to create there, you had to learn coding. And it was like the first hint and iteration at digital communication and sharing, like IMing and emails. So that was like the first generation of that. Okay, so that was the era of Web 1. Web 2, the era in which we currently live, / transitioning out of. Okay, the biggest things to take away from Web 2 are e-commerce and social media. If nothing else, those are just like the big two to understand of just like absolutely freaking revolutionize the world, e-commerce and social media. But let's look a little bit more. So centralized, the Web 2 is incredibly centralized. There are very few massive, companies of power distributing information in cyberspace and Web 2. So very centralized. Web 2 is very much about user-generated content. So it was the first time that like we could get on and like create content and share it with each other. Like I'm sharing photos and stuff on Instagram, or I'm sharing my thoughts on Facebook, or I'm making my own website, but using somebody else's generator, so it's not so hard. I don't have to learn coding, but it was like produced by us. It was generated by us. Social media, digital virtual communication and sharing. So really just like soared. Think about all of the apps we have for communicating with one another and sharing huge files with each other now. It's just endless. The data structure of Web 2, it's called monarchy. If that means anything to you, and if it doesn't, that's okay. That's just the structure of the data. And it's talking about the server system. And the governance type within Web 2 is a pyramid, meaning it's very traditional organization of management and legal entity contracts that flow outwards from like a pyramid of power. Okay, Web 2. Let's move on to Web 3. Okay, I love this quote. And this reference is available in the resources list at the end, Brian Young's lecture. And this quote is, "You're not on the internet, you're in the internet." I think that is so wait, hold on. I just have to, can I just get rid of that? 1 sec. Okay. Okay. You're not on the internet, you're in the internet. That to me is just like we could just walk away there. That like so freaking nails it. Immersion, dynamic, integrated, expressive, interactive. These are all words that are just like oozing with Web3. Okay, so the first thing to know about Web3 is that it is run on blockchain technology, which is what we just defined. So instead of the servers, we're on nodes. That's right, exactly. Nodes, networks of nodes and nodes and nodes. Okay. Decentralized data structures. We've talked about that. I'm not going to introduce the concept of peer-to-peer networks right now, but it's run autonomously by code. We talked about that, and you'll hear the term trustless, and that just means that it's open to public record. Therefore, it's accessible and anyone can fact check. User ownership. Okay, so the last one, it was user-generated content. This is all about user ownership. Okay, so you've heard, I'm sure, or maybe not, but some people talk about things like on a Twitter or an Instagram, you don't own the content there. The site owns it. Instagram owns it. Twitter owns it. You don't own your content there. If Twitter shuts down or changes their policies or changes their whatever, your content could be erased. I've personally had my content erased. I know lots of people have. So you don't own it. You can't do anything about it. And if you don't agree with their policies, screw you. Like, that's just what it is. So now we're moving to an era where we actually own the things that we put online. That's really revolutionary. One, I want you to think about it in that context. And I am going to explain interoperability right now, but then we'll look at ownership in another context as well. So the other great thing about ownership and interoperability, specifically in the era of Web3, is like, okay, say there is couple of Web3 social media platforms that are like a Twitter, or maybe one is like, I've seen one that's specific to musicians and things, or, you're running a website or whatever it is. And you want to be able to share the content that you created on one of those platforms and put it on another one of those platforms, you can do that. It's an interoperable system where you own the content and you can put it anywhere you want. I know that I'm trying to explain that in a way that has a little bit more clarity, but I could feel people's questions around that, and let me just sit on that. The other really exciting thing that gets me excited about interoperability, and there's lots of other aspects of interoperability. For example, you could buy a skin in a video game and you really like it, and you can take it out of the video game, and now you can wear it to NFT Fashion Week in the metaverse. Amazing. I love that shit. I'm not even into gaming, but I love that shit. And then what was the other one that I was going to say that's exciting? Oh, the thing that gets me excited. You with authenticated verification, you only have one key. Meaning you can get into anywhere with your one key. No more bullshit of having 1,500 passwords for 1,500 sites with all their different servers and processing and da-da-da-da-da. You now have one you with one key, and you get anywhere with that one key. How amazing. I'm really excited about that. I just sign in with my wallet and I am anywhere I want to be without having to remember anything else. Goodbye. Amazing. Okay. So the other aspect of ownership that I wanted to talk about is NFTs. And we're not going to go too deep into NFTs right now. I have a whole slide on them and we're going to have 2 full classes on them. But just buttering us up to the topic of NFTs and ownership, you authenticate your art when you, or whatever it is when you are selling it, so selling an asset. I'm just going to use art right now as an example. So I'm like authenticating on the blockchain that like, this is my artwork. The artwork says it's valid. Samantha Sharman, this is the artwork that she created on blah, 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 blah. This is Samantha Sharman's artwork. The things are linked. You can never unlink them. And then whoever purchases that is now the owner. And so there's just complete clarity and transparency about, again, I'm thinking about it in context of art, but apply to anything, real estate, whatever, of just like records of art ownership, what was paid for it, you know, what royalty, that we're not going to get into that right now, but what royalties did the artist get, which you'll be able to see on the transaction. Like there's, and that might not sound like a big deal, but if you think about those things in the art world and how many people have been fucked over by like not having, you know, access to documents or records that were just like part of this living blockchain that anyone in the world can access, and getting fucked over without royalties and things like that, of like ownership questions, like that solves huge problems. Okay. We're going to move on. Great. I love this slide. Titty slide. I actually literally chose these photographs here because this is the driest material. So I wanted to give you something wet. However, it's so dry that I don't even really feel like talking about it right now. It's more on data structures, and this is where I talk about peer-to-peer technology and networks. But again, this is not the stuff that really lights me up. I want you to understand it because it's important and you can read this slide, but I'm just going to be mindful of our time and skip it for now. Okay. Technologies. Let's talk about Web3 technologies. Okay. So all of these technologies are associated with the era of Web3. And a lot of these technologies will be explicitly run using blockchain technology. So let's first talk about which blockchain technology is Web3 technology. There's just such an interconnected aspect of those things. Okay, so let's just go through the top, you know, like highlight ones that everyone knows. Artificial intelligence, AI, which is computers that can reason, learn, and act in a way that would normally require human intelligence. And they can also run calculations that involve data that our human brains cannot analyze. So that's artificial intelligence. And we can think of like the AI generated apps, like all those apps that will write things for you now. Oh, love that shit. Chat GPT. I mean, I haven't actually used it yet, but I'm really excited about it. Internet of Things. This is actual things. This is hardwares that have sensors and processing abilities in them. So this is things, the best, easiest examples that you already know of these things are like your smart technology, like I have a what is he called? iRobot, the little vacuum, beep, boop, boop, boop. So it's like appliances, it's your cars, it's things that have like a smart component to them. Okay. Virtual reality, or VR, which is computer-generated simulation of 3D images or environments that can interact with using special electronic equipment, i.e. you put your goggles on, you get your things on, you go interact in the world using your virtual reality. Augmented reality is when it overlays it onto the actual environment. So like you take your phone and you scan something and it has you see the rest of the world, but then there's just like a whale floating there. That's such a random example that I just came up with. But there could be like a map, a treasure map for a game that's actually geo-mapped. Like Pokemon Go is the best example of that, right? I love augmented reality. It's so fucking fun. It's so cool. Okay. It's actually one of my favorites. We are going to talk about NFTs briefly today because we're going to have 2 full classes on it, but I want you to understand the technologies. Okay. It stands for... Do I even want to get into this right now? No. Okay. No. I am going to say an NFT can be any asset that you verify and authenticate that you are the owner and then sell it using blockchain technology. It can be any asset. It does not have to be art. It can be real estate. It can be cars. It can be tickets to a show. It could be physical artwork like paintings, sculptures. You can look specifically at that definition, and we're going to go into it much more, but I don't want you to get caught up on NFTs right now. Just know that it's like a way to sell things using blockchain technology, and then you receive internet native money, i.e. crypto, mostly Ethereum, but that's not even necessarily true. It could be any token. Okay. Metaverse. I did a whole page on the metaverse because I'm a geek about it. Okay. I am going to read this definition word for word because it is very clear. This is very precise. Okay. The metaverse is a massively scaled, interoperable network of real-time rendered 3D virtual worlds which can be experienced synchronously, I'll define this, and persistently, I'll define this, by an effectively unlimited number of users with an individual sense of presence. Okay, we're gonna break it down. All right, massively scaled interoperable network of real-time rendered 3D virtual worlds, i.e. you step into a virtual world, just like this video is doing here. And it's real time. Things are moving in real time, operating in real time, interacting in real time, exchanging in real time. You can have financial exchanges in real time, real conversations in real time, real music in real time, right? So it's 3D virtual world that you enter into. You experience synchronously, i.e. you and the other person there are experiencing the same thing. You're in your own separate experiences, but you're in the same environment, synchronous experience. And persistently, meaning, say you're in a field, it's like an outdoor metaverse event, and it's in a field, and if the field wants to go on forever, it'll just go on forever. There's just it just keeps good. There's just grass that just keeps going. The sky just looks like it, just keeps going. If you can fly, you can just keep flying, right? Like it's just a persistent is how they describe that. Okay. And a sense of presence, an individual sense of presence. So you're not just like a blob in the video game, you're actually like you, and you're having your own individual experience and presence. Okay. For now, I'm just gonna start, one of the characteristics is a virtual economy. So you can have whole virtual economies inside of a metaverse. Say you did like an online festival, or a festival in the metaverse, and you were walking up to vendors and you wanted to buy a new skin or new outfit or new, whatever, you could buy it right there in real time, receive it, and then even put it on. And then you could take it to your next metaverse event because it's yours always. It's interoperable. And this is just huge opportunities. I have a lot of examples here, gaming, fashion, art, music, entertainment, concert, right? But even just thinking about it from I actually have this as one of the examples when I'm talking about it now. There's this group called MetaHers. And it was started by a working mom. And she just created a metaverse co-working space and social club for other working moms. So it could be like a business meeting space. Like it can be anything that you want it to be. And people can meet there literally, virtually. But the metaverse will impact every aspect of education, creator economy, travel, I said education because I really mean it. Okay. Speaking of, let's talk about the applications of Web3. Okay. So what problems does Web3 solve? Let's first ask that question. So Web3 arose out of a mixture of it was bound to happen, evolution, tech, people are working, people are discovering things, people continue innovating, like it's just evolution, period. And also though this era of this internet with the philosophical building blocks underpinning it, is coming from a need for recognition of more balance, and empowered and sovereign economic and social cultures. And Web3 holds the potential for answering a lot of concerns, including, I always use this as like the first example because for me, it's like so simple, but so revolutionary to actually really mean this, that you can send money to anyone, anywhere in the world instantly without that person having to have access to a bank. All they need is a device and the internet, and they can be, they can be homeless, they can be a person without a home, they can be, someone who typically has to go through like a Wells Fargo who takes a percentage out in order to receive money from someone. It could even like things like restaurants. We think about credit cards, that stuff takes 30 days for the owner of that business to receive that, and they take a percentage of it. Imagine if like our small business owners had crypto exchanges where people could pay in crypto, they get that money immediately and they don't have any percentages from a third party taken off of it. That's actually really radical stuff. So I always like to start there because for me, that answers a lot of this world's lack of access to resources. Not having an address and not having a bank are a lot of reasons why people can't get access to money. Okay. Content and data rights and ownership. I'm not going to go into detail on this right now because I want to be respectful of our time, but it is just a massively different system that prioritizes our rights and ownership over our content and our data. It enhances security. It's built on transparency. It's geared toward a creator economy, ethos and practice of decentralization and network over pyramid. And it decreases barriers to entry for businesses and entrepreneurs and artists, and the like. Okay, beautiful. So Web3, again, is going to permeate every sector of culture. It's just endless. The applications are really up to our imagination, to what we want to see us use it for. But I am going to list out some of my favorite projects and the things that really inspire me for what I see use cases in like the highest, coolest means. So first I want to start, I mentioned education. TinyTap. I love this project. Okay. TinyTap is a platform where teachers can create content code-free. So you'll see a little bit of centralization in some of these things for the services that they're providing, but I'll talk about that kind of little caveat later. But right now, so it's a platform where teachers can generate content code-free, so that all they have to do is generate the content. And then they have this really cool new form of NFTs called publisher NFTs. And that means that the initial creator of the content, the teacher, and the purchaser of the content now both own and have publishing rights to this NFT. Or not publishing rights, that's just called a publisher NFT. They both own this NFT. And that's what it is. And it represents a right to a course. So they own the NFT and then they get access to the course. And they are doing so well. I just love them. So they're generating right now for the teachers that are using them $10,000 to $50,000 a year, which is huge for teachers. And on their first NFT collection, they sold out and they made 138 ETH, which was over $250,000. And this is, I love this. The first step in leveraging Web3 technologies to establish an alternative, decentralized education system that fairly supports and incentivizes teachers. Okay, talk a lot more about different educational models, but that's one of my favorite projects. This is one of my other favorite projects. Eco-Sapiens. This shit is amazing. Okay. It's a Web3, okay, I'm just going to explain it through my angle, but you should read all about them on their website. They're just incredible. They created this amazing artwork, this amazing NFT. Well, okay, firstly, they're not even like an NFT artwork thing. Like, that's just how they're selling their product. Really, they're climate scientists. That are working with technologies to remove carbon from the atmosphere. But of course, that costs money, that's expensive. So the NFTs, which are beautiful artwork of just like these mergers of like animals and technology and earth and breathing and beautiful, just beautiful. When you purchase those, you're purchasing for them to remove carbon emissions. And the equivalent. And so you just keep collecting and you just keep offsetting tons of carbon. And here it says each Eco-Sapien is backed by 16 tons of carbon, which offsets an entire year's worth of carbon in one click. Each Eco-Sapien is a real world carbon offset. Yes, please, and thank you. Look them up. And the artwork is extraordinary. You've got to read the white paper if you're a geek. It's amazing. Okay, Quantum Temple. Oh, this is another just winner. Oh my goddess. Okay, so this is a cultural heritage project where different cultures can either like curate and sell for collectors or do something that's like less tangible, like maybe like a dance and experience for people. And it's actually like curated and run by the cultures that it's selling, that it's like representing, and all of the NFT sales goes directly to the artists and that culture. That's some healing shit. I love it. I want to see more of it. Yes, yes, yes. And then I have a couple small projects here that I wanted to mention. Brave is a browser. It's going to be like a Google browser or an Explorer browser that, it blocks the tracking of your data on the internet, but then it gives you the option to monetize your own data. And you get paid directly by the advertiser in an attention token. So for watching ads or shit, you can just like decide, okay, I will watch your ad and I'm like accruing tokens, getting paid to do it. Like, there's just, like, what? Cool. Like, yeah, why not? Yeah. Okay. MuseNet. This is amazing. MuseNet can generate 4-minute musical compositions with 10 different instruments in any style. Music writing. Now, that might sound like it lacks soul to a lot of people, and I don't disagree on certain levels of this conversation, but I'm going to put an asterisk in that conversation for the full music and Web3 and NFT classes, because we'll be having deeper conversations on that. Faith Tribe is an amazing democratized and sustainable fashion brand for digital fashion brand, excuse me. So democratized and sustainable digital fashion brand, and it's absolutely incredible. And the woman who started it is amazing. She's so radical, and I support the fuck out of her, the F out of her. And then MetaHers is the one that I told you about that was started by an incredible entrepreneur, badass working mom, and just found office environments not sustainable for her being able to nourish her child the way that she wanted to and work. So she started the Metaverse co-working and social club. Get it. Okay, now we reach our invitation. Optional assignment. Okay, now that you have a basic understanding of Web3, can you imagine ways that these technologies could benefit your life and or grow your vision and brand? Choose one of the following questions or think of your own and write or record yourself talking and answering that question, and then send it to me either at my email or DM me on Instagram or Twitter. at @thesamsharman or sam.sharman.art@gmail.com. And these are the questions that I will let you read. I'll just choose one. Can you imagine offering your creation or service as an NFT? Why or why not? Okay, everybody, that concludes our class. I kept it right about an hour. Proud of that. I'm excited to offer this to you in person next month if you're in LA. It's, I believe, actually going to be Thursday, March 16th instead of the 23rd. So I will get you details ASAP. But I'm excited and delighted to continue this offering to you in person if you're in LA and continued online if you are not in Los Angeles with us. And I'm sending you all empowerment and creativity and sovereignty and gratitude and abundance and love. And I'll see you next time.